Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our webinar presentation this afternoon to take a look at the brand new and improved Construction Online mobile app. This will be the kind of last in our series highlighting the brand new Construction Online 2020, and we're really excited to show you some of the changes to the mobile app to go along with some of those exciting changes for Construction Online.
Hey everyone, my name is Jordan Davis, and Holly and I are going to be taking you through the updates that we've really poured into the Construction Online mobile app. Now, for those of you who don't know too much about Construction Online is UDA Technologies' flagship web-based construction project management software. A lot of words to describe the fantastic, best-in-class tools that we offer almost a little over 650,000 construction professionals around the world manage up to $70 billion in projects on a daily basis. Now, we work with so many different contractors, professionals, people from every single segment of the industry, and we've learned a lot about what it takes to build a powerful, well-rounded project management system. And we know today more than ever that is going to involve tools for the boots on the ground, people who need to be able to access project information quickly, accurately, and be able to communicate back with your offices. And we're so excited to show off what our mobile team has been so hard at work to provide to you.
Absolutely. Now, before we dive into the brand new mobile app, Jordan and I would like to invite you to ask questions and interact with us throughout the webinar today. If this is your first time attending a UDA webinar, one thing you'll want to do is make sure to take a look at the questions panel. This is where you'll be able to submit your questions. We're joined today by our colleague Sydney, who will be manning the keyboards and watching out for questions from you guys and providing as many answers as possible as we go through the webinar today, and also flagging those for Jordan and I to be able to address for all of you guys as we go through. So we love to see those questions. We love to see the interaction. So definitely take a look at that questions panel and send us over your questions. Before that, we'd also love to hear from any of you who are in attendance today. What you're currently doing when it comes to field and office communication, how frequently you're using those mobile apps, what some of your favorite tools are to use on a day-to-day basis. So definitely send that our way, and we will jump right in.
Absolutely. Please let us know what you're most interested in. We'd love to respond and keep the collaboration going.
Now, for today's webinar, of course, we are going to be focusing on Construction Online Mobile. So the format will be just a little bit different than most of the webinars that you guys have attended. So we will be really taking a look at the mobile app and what your field team sees. So I know many of you guys really depend on Construction Online Mobile to be that point of communication with teams that are out in the field, or some of you that maybe are really in and out of the office a good bit and need to have access to your information. So we'll really be looking at the mobile app in detail today and really presenting from that mobile perspective.
Yeah, it's going to give you a direct look into the app from those of us who really know our way around. If you haven't downloaded the app yet, you can find the app for free. All you have to do is head to your device's app store and search for Construction Online. It's one word. It looks exactly like this. It's going to be a white icon with a dark gray C and an orange O. Without further ado, let's jump right in.
That's right. So you can see I've got my app here. Now I also have my custom Gibson Construction app, which is designed for my clients and my Team Link users to be able to access their information and their portals on Construction Online. So know that that is available. But what we'll be taking a look at today is the mobile app for you and your team to use there internally. So as we jump into Construction Online Mobile, we've really been hard at work updating the app to line up with some of the updates that we've made for Construction Online 2020. So if you haven't looked at the app in a while, you'll probably notice some new features available, Envoy Chat, time tracking, some new options in terms of how you're entering and creating information within the app. Jordan, I know you work with a lot of new team members as they are getting started with Construction Online. How important is that mobile communication
It's incredibly important. There's two components to a successful project. There's the planning aspect, making sure that you have everything aligned for successful project execution, and then there's the day-to-day, the work that goes on the job site. And what we found is that it is critical for both the office and the field, or if that's yourself, maybe you are the office and the field in some cases, or maybe you have a very extended team with lots of moving parts, lots of people involved in a project. No matter what type of company that you're running, if you're in the construction industry, being able to not only access information from the field, but also being able to update and inform those in the office of current situations from the job site is incredibly important, especially in 2019 and heading into 2020. If you aren't using some type of mobile app system to update your projects, to keep your team in alignment, to communicate with your subcontractors and even with your clients, then you're already behind the curve and you're only going to fall further behind.
Definitely. Now, one thing that you'll notice and that I really love about the Construction Online mobile app is that it isn't a partial view of Construction Online. For sure, it's optimized to fit on the smaller screen, but really you'll notice that all of the features and tools that you're used to having access to within Construction Online are right here available in the app. So you're going to be able to see things like, of course, your files and pictures, which you might expect, but you'll also be able to do things like manage your submittals or your submittal log, take a look at things like client selections, create change orders and get those approved right on the fly. So all of that information that you're used to having available to you in Construction Online is going to be right here in the app. Now, I know one of the things that has been hugely popular with Construction Online 2020 has been the brand new Envoy Chat. I know that for so many project teams, communication is a really critical part of running a successful project. And Envoy Chat is designed to be as easy as texting, which you'll see here on my phone, it definitely is, as easy as texting, still contained within Construction Online, and really give you the ability to have that instant one-to-one communication with your team. Now, of course, Envoy Chat on Construction Online is available as a desktop chat, so you're able to just log into your Construction Online account and chat with others on your team. From the phone, it's a lot like sending a text message.
Yeah, now here's something really critical to keep in mind that's not like text messaging at all. You're not chained to just the phone. So that means that you could be working from your computer and send a message or even send a reply to somebody in the field. Now you can see I sent a message just before the webinar started to really set up the scenario here. The thought that we had was that we really wanted to facilitate and remove the man in the middle, the text message interface, because it's outside of your project management platform. You'd have to go and find the messages on the device itself and find some way to pull it into the platform if you wanted to log it for historical purposes or something like that. Now, of course, when you send a message from the desktop, it will show immediately inside of the mobile app, which is incredibly important. It's critical that those types of communication land directly in the person's hands, whether they're at the desktop or using their phone on site. You can see I wanted to touch base with Holly to talk with her about the schedule, maybe tell her there's some updates that need to be made once we're actually back in the office. But the important thing here is that this message was sent within half a second, right? So I'm going to just show off the speed of what I can say right back to Holly. So I just sent the message there. And the message is already back inside of Holly's phone. Now, something else to note, Envoy Chat isn't only limited to text. You can also send photos, documents, and attachments. Really anything that you would be able to send inside of a text message app can now be pulled directly into Construction Online, which is really convenient when you want to take a photo that somebody sent to you. Maybe they were in a hurry and they just forgot to upload it into the project. Well, you can instead pull up that chat back in the office and download it straight into the platform.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the exact same pieces of information. So as we look at the chat that Jordan and I have here, on the phone, if we head back to our Construction Online account, those same messages are right here. So if we're doing things like passing information back and forth when it comes to those photographs or any other pieces of information, that's going to be available immediately both places. So it really does facilitate that field to office communication. A couple of other really handy things that you can do with Envoy Chat specifically from the phone is send contact information. So, a frequent type of question might be, hey, can you just send me the phone number, for our electrician or something like that. So you're able to, send that through chat, open that up on the phone and actually go ahead and make the phone call, right there from within the chat. So everything links up the way that you would expect it to and kind of gives you that ability to take advantage of each platform. There's a lot of really unique things that you can do on the phone, like making an old-fashioned phone call. So being able to do that right from your messages is definitely convenient. So all you have to do is just tap on the phone number, go ahead and make the call, and you're all set. So definitely speeds up that communication there.
Yeah, it's a huge step up we find from keeping messages siloed inside of people's cell phones. I was actually talking with one of our clients a couple of weeks ago, Holly. The only piece of information he had about an approval for something on his project, I think it might have actually been a change order, was lost when he dropped his cell phone into the lake. And the other person's phone had mysteriously died or been replaced or something like that. So, he was looking at a pretty sticky situation, and he eventually was able to pull the information out of a backup of his phone on his computer. Not the ideal situation. Could have easily avoided it if they had been able to use or had been using Envoy Chat at that point as well.
Definitely so. Now, we already have a couple of really great questions coming in from those of you about Envoy Chat, and some of you, it looks like, are already starting to use that. So a couple of great questions. The first one is there a banner notification for new chat messages? And there absolutely is. Actually, for purposes of today's webinar, I have turned off all the notifications on my phone so that we don't get interrupted today. But normally, of course, you would have those notifications enabled and would be able to receive that instant notification of a new chat. And this is going to come through whether you are in the app or not. So, if you're working in Construction Online, you'll sometimes notice just like a red badge or red circle indicating how many new messages you have within your chat. So that'll, bring it to your attention that you need to jump in and take a look, at your messages if you're working in the Construction Online app. If you're not, if you just, have your phone in your pocket or you're working on something else, then you're going to get those notifications coming in just like those regular banner notifications, of course, provided that you do have those enabled on your phone.
And if you tap those notifications, you'll also be prompted at that point to open the Construction Online app. It will take you directly to the message thread as well.
Yeah, exactly. So the idea here really being that you're, again, back to that instant communication. So we want to make sure that it's as instantaneous as possible for everybody involved. So that's why, there are going to be a number of ways that you're getting notified on your phone so that those field users know that this needs their attention. And then, of course, right back in the office, whether you happen to have your phone with you or are logged into Construction Online, you're going to receive that message right away as well.
Instantly, yeah. And you're not just limited to the open Envoy message threads that you might have. You can also create or start your own directly from the phone as well. We thought it was incredibly important that the feature and functionality inside of the web browser was also brought and available on the phone as well. Now, something else to keep in mind with Envoy Chat, you're not limited to one-to-one communication. You can also pull together teams of people into a group Envoy Chat thread, which is useful for keeping multiple parties up to date on whatever's happening on your projects, or if there's something that needs a general office attention or general team attention. You can quickly send a message out to everyone involved and keep them up to date.
Yeah, definitely super easy to do. Now, kind of moving on from chat, when I think about Construction Online 2020, and another kind of just great question here about can you send videos in addition to pictures, and you definitely can do that as well. So, of course, you can send regular text-based messages, but you can also send those photographs, videos. You can even send links to or messages about schedules or logs or punch list items or things like that you might need to bring someone's attention to. So definitely a lot of great options there.
Mm-hmm. And you're not just limited to the camera type attachments either. If you can attach files from your phone, you can do that as well. So you could quickly pull in a PDF from your email and send it in. You might just want to save that file into the project for later viewing, but if you really need to send it across and someone was asking for it right that second, it's going to be much faster than email.
Mm-hmm, definitely so. Now, I will say that, if you kind of look at the different options that I have available on my app here, in addition to Envoy Chat, another new thing that you might notice there is time tracking. That's also been something that has been hugely popular with Construction Online 2020. If you've been using the app for a while, there have been some options to log those times or to do some of those clock ins, clock outs on Construction Online mobile, but that's recently gotten a really big upgrade. Of course, some of that has come with Construction Online 2020 and some of the brand new administrative views and things that you can really do with that data. Some great map options for being able to see where everyone is clocking in, but that usually is going to start from the phone. What we've seen is that in most cases, those teams who are using time tracking regularly are very often starting with a clock in right on their phone. So we've upgraded that option for you as well.
Yeah, we've made accessing and actually clocking in and out of projects incredibly simple. We know that tracking time is both incredibly important to companies, and it's also sometimes could be a stumbling block. So we've worked very, very, very hard to make the clock in and clock out function as simple and as obvious as it possibly can be. So what you'll notice when you first open the time tracking app is that you have a gigantic button to clock in. When you tap that button, Construction Online will ask, well, which project is this for? What are you actually working on? And then once you select the project, it's instantly obvious, what are you doing? Which project are you clocked into? And then you have a few additional options as the day would move forward.
That's right. So you're able to do that clock in. So I've just chosen to clock right here into my 2272 Hamilton project. And you'll notice that now I have some additional options. I can, of course, select a cost code. So if I wanted to clock into a specific cost code, because I do have that associated with this job, then I can maybe say I'm working on a swimming pool today. So we're good to go there. I can also enter notes, and this is something brand new that we've introduced for 2020, is the ability to go ahead and add notes in for that shift as you're clocked in. So as a user, I can come in and enter notes about what I'm working on today. Just like with any of our other note-based features, you can also turn your mic on to capture that. So I know, Jordan, you really recommend that often for your clients to just take advantage of that talk to text.
Yeah, there's no excuse these days, for people to say, my thumbs are the size of Lincoln logs. I can't actually hit the buttons. Okay, well, there's a really big microphone there. Just pretend that you're on a phone call. Let people know what you're doing, and then, the notes will be posted right there. So for those of you who are working with employees who might be, tech averse might be the right word, because no one is really tech inept, so they just don't believe in themselves enough. There's a really easy path for them to keep track of what they're working on, and that's through just telling people what they're working on.
Definitely. Now, you'll also notice that in addition to the notes, you're also able to add pictures. So, for people who say, well, a picture's worth 1,000 words in terms of what I'm working on today, sometimes that's definitely true. So you can enter in those notes, but you can also go ahead and take photographs of what's being worked on, again, right from that time tracking app. So it just makes it super easy to come in and not only record time, but provide just a little bit more detail about what's being worked on. And that, of course, is going to translate over to Construction Online 2020, so that from an admin point of view, you'll be able to go in, pull that information, really get some detailed info about what someone's been working on, reference those notes and photos, have everything coded out. Super fast and easy, so not a ton more work on anyone's side. It only takes just a second to enter in a couple of notes, but the payback is really, really great there, because you just get a little bit more insight into what someone's been working on. You'll also notice, of course, I'm clocked in, so I have the option to go ahead and switch to a different job, clock out altogether, or take a break or a lunch. So all the options anyone would really need to kind of manage their day-to-day clock-ins are going to be right here and available on the app.
Right, and we wanted to make it easy just in case someone clocked in and maybe they picked the wrong project. To give you some context, if that happens, you can actually, in the middle of the shift, change to the correct project. Now, ideally, this won't happen too often, given that you'll have the project structured and named in such a way that your team can easily find the information, but we know that it is incredibly important that your field teams not have to exert too much of their day towards finding out how the mobile app would work, and instead can just do exactly what they need to do to really execute on the project itself.
Absolutely. Now, of course, the other thing to note is as they're clocking in and out, when we kind of come back and take a look at, how that's going to appear for you guys in Construction Online, remember that this is also going to grab that GPS data or location for them. So I can now see that I'm clocked in. My time clock is still running online, just like it is on my app. If we want to see, where everyone is clocked in, we can see immediately, who's logged in, where they are. I am here at UDA Technologies headquarters, which is right where I'm supposed to be today. But if maybe someone clocked in and you noticed they were in a strange location or not, actually close to the job site or something like that, that's information that would be easily available as well. And that's just being captured by clocking in and out on the phone there.
Now, in addition to being able to simplify the clock in and clock out procedure for your field teams, we've also made some improvements and expanded into a completely new administrative dashboard in Construction Online. We have a deep dive already posted on our website if you'd like to learn a little more, but do keep in mind, I saw a question that came in and that's asking, can administrators correct mistakes? We know mistakes are going to happen. It's okay. We provided a way for administrators to correct that information, just in case somebody clocks in and they actually did forget to switch to the right project, or maybe they picked the cost code that wasn't entirely accurate. There are plenty of ways to address and adjust this now. And I think the important thing to note here is this information is happening and flowing into Construction Online in real time, while still giving you the tools not only to adjust and correct for your own internal processes, but also storing that information for you as you move forward into 2020.
That's right. Another couple of great questions here just about being able to change the cost code. So, there's an option to switch to a new project. So I think the question is, can we also switch to a different cost code? And we actually offer a couple of really fantastic options for what you can do there. So anytime we want to really just make a change, so we want to stop at this point in time, 323, and begin logging or charging our time to somewhere else, you would just use that switch option. So even if it's within the same project, you just reselect that same project and you'll be able to choose a new code at that time. Now, one thing that may happen from time to time is if you accidentally clock into the wrong project or the wrong cost code, you don't have to worry about clocking yourself out. You can just kind of come in and make that edit or correction here, and you'll notice that I just got a message that my current timesheet has been edited. So you actually have both options available to you to be able to actually either edit your current timesheet so that there's not a ton of mistakes, nothing that can't be corrected really quickly if you realized you've jumped into the wrong thing, but you can also switch really easily between job to job or cost code to cost code to really accurately allocate that time.
There's also a quick place for you to review the time that you personally have logged in the app as well, and that's just by tapping the timesheet option. This is going to show you the days that you've clocked in to Construction Online, and if you actually were to tap on one of those dates, you could see a quick summary of all of the time that you tracked to date. Really simple to review. This can also facilitate communication if you check your timesheet and you see that one of your punches is a little off, or if a team member sees that their time isn't quite accurate. At that point, they can jump back and potentially send a chat back to the office administrator to say, hey, I forgot to clock out, or I forgot to clock in. I was actually here though. So how you want to handle that internally is up to you, but now you have the tools in your hands and at your fingertips to make it happen.
Definitely. Now, switching gears for a moment, so we'll circle back, and I still see a ton of great questions coming in about time tracking. So we'll make sure to come back to some of those in a moment. It looks like you guys are keeping Sydney busy today, as always, with some really outstanding questions. But I did want to make sure that we were able to cover some of the additional improvements to the app that we've made available for you. And the next one that I really wanted to kind of jump into for just a moment is some of the improvements to the process for uploading pictures and files into the mobile app. That's one of the most common uses that we see for the app, in addition to that communication and time tracking, is really to be able to just do things like take pictures and upload those right to the project, or access files or documents that that maybe are a part of that job. Just having access to that information is so important from a mobile standpoint. Of course, anytime you want to take a look at the files on your mobile app, you've got that available to you here. So I can just jump into my files and photos section. It's going to load up the same pictures, same folders, same files and documents that I have online. So all of that's going to be, of course, available to me here. And if I need to upload some items, maybe, just take a picture right on the job site, or, maybe I've taken a few pictures with my phone and forgotten to upload them. There's some really great options for doing that. And we've actually made some improvements to the speed on that, as well as, kind of upping some of the limits as to how many of those you can batch up at a time. We found that people were using it really heavily. So made some great improvements on that front as well.
Now, an enhancement to the mobile app that you might not see, and this is intentional, is that we have added a background upload capability to the mobile app. So while you are working on uploading site photos, if you were to move to another part of the app, or let's say you put your phone back in your pocket, or you just set it down because something came up, what you'll notice is that the items will begin uploading. You'll see a notification that Construction Online Mobile is now uploading 2 items into the project, and it'll give you a status when it has finished uploading. Now, we found that when we increased the number of photos or files or whatever you could upload into Construction Online, that while some of you have very, very, very nice phones with incredibly high-def cameras. Holly, I know your phone has 3 cameras on the back of it right now, so there's quite a lot of information that's going to be captured in those pictures. Well, we wanted to make it easy and reliable for you to upload those photos. So if you are traveling through a location and you're still uploading photos and you hit a dead zone, well, the upload will actually suspend and then restart once it has begun again. You'll also notice that in addition to the speed enhancements, this is really going to prevent those situations where someone thought they'd uploaded the job site photos and they just never really made their way in. It's also going to free you up to move through and continue working on other parts of your project without feeling stuck waiting for that progress bar to finish. This is really a huge enhancement.
Definitely. Now, one place that you might want to upload pictures, it could be that you really just want your team to go in and take a few photos, upload those to the file for that particular project, and keep moving. I know so many of you really also rely on some of the tools like the daily logs, the punch list, as, again, that on the ground, on the site way of communicating. And so we've also really made some fun enhancements and impressive enhancements to the way that some of those features work, in particular when it comes to being able to enter data. I think some of my favorite improvements have come with the daily logs. So again, often not just do we want to take a picture, but we want to be able to enter some notes, track what work got completed on the job site that day, or note that maybe there were visitors on site, and be able to do that really quickly. And so some of the recent improvements to Construction Online Mobile 2020 have surrounded not just speed of upload, but really ease of being able to get that information in.
And it starts directly with the interface for selecting different types for project logs. For instance, you can see now it's a lot easier to choose which log type you want to enter. From that point, we've worked tirelessly. We have listened to user feedback. We've had plenty of design and development meetings to find out what's the most efficient layout for adding information to a project. We've really taken everything that we've heard both internally and from our current clients to heart, and we tried to make it as streamlined as possible to not only select the right log type, but also to make it easy for your teams to report what's going on the ground from their perspective. We think that daily logging is incredibly important, not just from a field update perspective to let those in the office or really everyone else on the team know where the project is, but it's also incredibly important to document everything that you're doing on a project to prevent or to really ensure that you have information that you can refer to long after the project is complete. We heard from one of our clients recently, the person who has the most paperwork wins in any dispute, and we think that the daily logging system here is going to give you not only the easiest way to put that paperwork together in the future, but on a day-to-day basis, it's so easy and so quick to actually put together a new log for a project at this point that there's really no excuse. You combine that with the voice to text functionality, and you'll instantly have more information, more updates loaded directly into the project in virtual real time. No more waiting for paper to make its way back to the office. No more typing to fill someone's shoddy handwriting and scribbles to try and find out, well, what did they actually do today? Now you can have both real-time updates with photos attached, maybe some files, whatever it might be. This information can flow directly back into the project for later reference as the project moves forward, or even long after the project is complete if it ever comes up for whatever reason.
Exactly. Well, that's the great thing about having the records stored in this format is that, once it's there, it's there. So you have it available for immediate use and information, but it's there whenever you need it, which might be years down the road, but it's really great to know that that's kind of at your fingertips whenever you need it. And that it's, kind of understanding how important that is was one of the reasons why we wanted to focus on making it a little bit easier to get that information in. You'll notice as I've been entering some of the log types here that really it feels and looks a little bit more like you're just kind of writing or typing into a piece of paper. So you're able to, pull this up, have a really easy way to get the information in, fill the form out, save it, you're done. So again, fast and easy to do, but a ton of payback. Now, another thing that, we see people use a lot on the job site. Of course, all of the tools are useful, but there are some things that we certainly see, like the daily logs, as being in particularly useful in the field. The other one that I see mentioned a ton, in addition to those pictures and daily logs, is your punch list items. And so that is something that, again, has gotten a little bit of an update in terms of the way it looks when you're entering those new items. And also, it's just super useful if there are things that you've already included in some sort of checklist, like perhaps we need to do a safety inspection every week and document that. Well, you can come in, kind of go down the list and just check things off. If we need to document perhaps that there's an issue or add a new item, you have this great form that you're able to just come in, fill out very quick and easy, and get that information documented.
And I really want to emphasize this form that we're looking at here is the full punch list form from ConstructionOnline on the web browser. We've done, I think, we've put a lot of work into making sure that this feature is not limited in any form or fashion in the mobile app. So if you are, intent on creating a robust punch list management system or issue tracking system inside of ConstructionOnline, well, you can do that whether you're at a web browser or on the phone. There's no limitations here whatsoever.
Yeah, so quick and easy to do. I love templating out those checklists to go through, but very often you're going to just see something on the job site that needs to be documented, and so we want to make sure that creating those items is just as easy as checking them off. And very often what you'll want to do is come in, add a new item, and of course not only be able to fill this out, but you'll notice that for all of these forms you'll have a place to add photos or other attachments so that you can again really easily just snap a picture of what you're seeing. You'll go in, take your photo or video, go ahead and grab that picture. You guys are seeing a ton of pictures of our desk today, but we'll go with that. So, super easy to get those photos uploaded, or even if you needed to shoot a quick video. That was a question that came up earlier. You can get that information in, fill in just a couple of details, and, be on your way, get that documented, assigned out, give it a due date. You'll know that it's going to be taken care of without a lot of fuss, but it's also, properly documented so that everyone on the team knows what's going on.
And coming back to the mobile app notifications that we discussed earlier, much like Envoy Chat messages, anytime you assign a to-do list item or a task or a punch list item to somebody in Construction Online, if they have the mobile app installed and they're logged in, they'll also see a message stating that they have a new, whatever it might be, in this case, a new punch list item for review or for them to complete for the project. If they tap on that item on the phone, it will take them directly to the punch list or the to-do for that project.
So no guesswork on their part, takes them directly where they need to go. Now, a couple of other things on the mobile side that I think are really incredibly useful and convenient that a lot of people don't know that you can do. So a couple of quick things. One is we understand that everyone who's using the app may have certain things that are their go-to features, certain things that they don't use as much of. So we've really built in some options for being able to customize or personalize the mobile app based on how you work. So the first one is just to be able to really rearrange these icons on your app. You'll notice that for me, I've got my Envoy Chat and time tracking right at the top. That's something that I'm going to use very often. Maybe for you, it might be your calendar, so you can move that around. So you'll notice all you have to do is just tap and hold on the icons, and you can basically move them around on the screen, put them in whatever order you like, and really customize that to the way that you're working on a day-to-day basis.
Side note, we've made a ton of updates to the calendar. Some of you might not have seen that. It's been available for, I'd say, roughly a year at this point now. But for those of you who might be jumping into the app for the first time, we think that the calendar system is very robust and it presents itself very well in a mobile app for field teams to see what exactly is coming up for today. What if we wanted to look ahead for the next week or two? It's right now we have it showing the calendar for the specific project, so it's going to filter down to show us the scheduled tasks and milestones. But you'll also see calendar events, due dates for items such as to-dos, change orders, anything that has a date associated with it can and will show up on the calendar, giving your teams the context for from a date standpoint. No matter where they are, they can just open the phone and see exactly what's coming up on their list of items to take care of.
Definitely. I mean, there's just so many great tools within the app. It's almost impossible to show all of them, but I know one of the questions that we get is kind of exactly this, a question about, well, can the team see the schedule on their calendar? Can they make adjustments or let us know that things have been completed? And that's, so easy to do. If you kind of look at what's coming up or what we have going on, today's date, or any date, you can kind of just jump in and see. It looks like mine actually starts in a couple of weeks, but if this were already complete, it's so easy to just jump into that task. We can mark it as, completely done. We can add a couple of notes. So again, super easy to keep that information updated.
Yeah, and to note here, this information is tying directly back into the schedule in Construction Online, the full Gantt chart schedule.
It is. So again, that connectivity between what's happening in the field, what's going on in the office, keeping everyone on the same page. So fast and easy for people to do with the mobile app. Now, one other thing that you can do here as well is in terms of that customization, another common question that we get asked about different users and field teams is, what if the app has too many options? We love that it's comprehensive, but what if my guys in the field really just need to clock into their time clock, be available for messages, and see their calendar or enter their logs? So we also have the option to be able to go into the mobile app and just turn features on and off. So really, if we wanted to kind of turn off some of the features that maybe someone in the field, just based on their role, doesn't need as much day to day, and can again increase that ease of use. It is super easy to come in and turn things on and off here. That's going to update on the home screen so that really just the most relevant information is available. You'll notice I now have fewer options on my home screen here for my app. So from a field perspective, that sometimes makes it a lot easier to just get that relevant information that's needed because there are fewer options.
Yeah, and also keep in mind, this is hiding the features. From an administrative standpoint, you can also disable permissions or access to the features themselves, so that if for whatever reason somebody went and turned different feature options back on, well, they wouldn't really be able to do anything. In fact, I think the icon to show that you don't have permissions to access something on the mobile app is a stop sign that says stop. You don't have permissions for this feature. So you have a lot of control over exactly what your field team is accessing and working on from a daily basis, or from an app perspective as well.
Absolutely. Now, another thing that, and just reading through some of the questions, it looks like we will pause in just a moment to jump into some of those questions. You guys have certainly asked a ton of great ones today, so we want to make sure to be able to address as many of those as possible before we wrap up today. But a couple of other things, Jordan, as you're reading through those questions, a couple of other things that I'd just love to highlight would be one, kind of ease of access to some of that other information. So we've looked at a lot of the features, but if you'll notice here at the very bottom of the app, I also have an easy access point to get to my camera at any time. So that really allows for that, again, picture-based communication to be even easier because you always have that camera ready and available. You can jump into that whenever you need to be able to upload pictures. You also have a news feed, which is going to show, it's really just a great place for anyone who is opening up the app and needs to get caught up to just jump into the news feed and be able to see exactly what's been going on, either for this project or across all of our projects, and just get caught up really quickly. I know that's a lot of what we want to be able to do with the mobile app is have access to information and kind of be able to pick up and hit the ground running. And so the newsfeed really gives you a place to be able to do that.
For those of you who may have a lot of projects inside of ConstructionOnline, switching from project to project is much simpler. This is not a brand new option for ConstructionOnline 2020, but something to note is that we've added a search feature into the mobile app. So if you're looking at a list of, say, 400 plus projects, and you know exactly which project you're looking for, instead of having to scroll all the way down to the letter S, maybe, you can search for part of the project name, and the list will dynamically filter based on what you're looking for. Now, something else that we've added that is somewhat newer is an option to also create a new project directly from the phone as well. We're really pushing towards giving the tools to manage your projects from the mobile app completely. I think we've come a very long way in terms of being able to manage files and information, but we've also added so many tools for managing and building things like change orders directly from your phone. Being able to submit requests for information from the phone as well. The interface works exactly like it does inside of ConstructionOnline, and all of that information is stored in real time for everyone else on your team to review as well.
That's right. Now, just reading through some of the questions that you guys have submitted. Let's see. Gosh, so many great ones. I love how active our customers have been for ConstructionOnline 2020. We're certainly super happy to be able to bring so many new features for you, and love that you're jumping in and using those right away. One question that someone has here is just when it comes to those change orders, are any of the signature options available? And they are. So I know for many of you with the change orders, sometimes depending on the type of change or who's on site with the client at that moment, sometimes, we really need to go back into the office and put some pricing together for it. But if it's something quick that you can do, or maybe a change order that's already been put together in detail and you just happen to catch the client on the site and want to go ahead and get an approval or sign off on that, you can pull those up on your phone. As we go into this one, you'll notice that if I go ahead and just mark it as approved from within the app, once we do that, we can go ahead and get a signature right on site. So I can do that here with my finger, or get the client, to go ahead and sign off on that, submit it. That's capturing the signature. That'll be part of the, documents and documentation for that change order moving forward. So it is, for sure an easy way to get those approvals done. Now, of course, your clients can also log into their portals or their apps and be able to approve and sign off on change orders. But if you're right there with them and want to go ahead and just grab that approval, this is certainly an easy way to do it.
Shifting gears a bit, this is somewhat related to the mobile app, but someone was asking, is there an option to limit employees from editing their own time tracking entries? The answer is yes. It's limited by default. Only your company administrators can edit timesheets. We think that it's very important to make sure that information can't just change on you all of a sudden, especially if you're a few days out from payroll. So that being said, we wanted to make sure that you or your administrators have the authority to make those changes proactively, instead of reacting to a time for someone that shifted from, let's say, 8 hours to all of a sudden they have 20 hours logged for the week. So no need to worry about unexpected changes to time tracking entries. At this point, you'll have control over that through employee permissions right out of the box.
Yeah, that's right. So, while an employee is clocked in, they can go ahead and make those adjustments in terms of projects and cost codes like we talked about before, but they really can't adjust the clock in or clock out time. We do reserve that for an administrator. We did have a couple of great questions about about different people that can use or assign cost codes. So it looks like a couple of people want to know if you can assign or use your own codes for the cost codes. So we do, cost codes is another relatively new tool that we've introduced for you guys in Construction Online 2020, and we do provide you with a couple of default sets for the cost codes so that those are preloaded into your Construction Online account. However, you definitely can use your own code set. So if you come to your cost codes area within Construction Online, you'll notice that there are some options to create new code sets. You can actually import those if you've got them perhaps in Excel. So, we do provide a couple of sets to get you started, but you can definitely come in and import or build your own cost code list that you want your employees to use for time tracking or other purposes.
Right. If you don't want to import cost codes, let's say that you have the standard set of codes that you'd like to use for time tracking purposes, building a list of cost codes for simple tracking to start is incredibly simple as well. So we won't spend too much time. We don't want to steal away from the mobile app standpoint, but I think that it's nice to be able to show off some of the information that you can use here. Now you can also see there's a code section and a description section. These two will be combined so that the person who's actually entering the cost code can understand from a human readable standpoint, well, what is this actually for? But this gives you the flexibility to really establish your own internal numbering or coding system while still telling people what is this actually for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really a great, quick, and easy way to get started with cost codes, or to, kind of create or set up a really simple coding system. So, sometimes people think, well, gosh, cost codes have to be super lengthy or super complicated, and certainly I've seen some people with really impressively detailed lists, but I've also seen people get a lot of really great use and useful information out of a relatively simple list as well. Now, back to a couple of the last app questions. It does look like we've got some other additional really outstanding questions about time tracking there. Next week we will be doing a deep dive into that, so definitely be sure to come back and join us. That will be Wednesday of next week for a lunch and learn. We'll be doing that at 1 p.m. Eastern time. So I hope that you guys are able to come back and join. We'll be going into a lot of those detailed questions about time tracking, both from a mobile and administrative standpoint. It looks like there are a couple of additional questions too about the Envoy chat. So a couple of things. It looks like several of you guys want to know or want to clarify just about notification. So being able to receive notifications outside of Construction Online mobile app, and you definitely can do that. Of course, you do have to be sure when you set the app up that you go ahead and allow those notifications. So if you turn those off, you might need to go back into your settings and turn them back on. But you will receive notifications for those Envoy chats outside of the app. So you'll just get those on your phone. They'll come through as a regular notification, and you'll be able to tap on those and go directly into your app there. Also, a great question about whether or not chats can be stored within a specific project. So that's actually one of the next generation features that we're working on for Envoy Chat will be the ability to not only have individual and group chats like you can do today, but also come in and give those chats names, or actually associate those chats with specific projects, really giving you automatically a place to chat and communicate within each job that you load into the system. So that will be kind of a coming soon feature, but definitely something that we are working on for you guys. Looks like I think we have time for maybe a couple of questions. You guys just have so many good ones today. So lots of questions about some of the reporting and payroll options for the time tracking. So again, we'll definitely jump into that in a little bit more detail next week. But to give you kind of a preview, when you go into your Construction Online account and into your time tracking, you do have some really great options in terms of reporting. So you can come in and do a summary of time for either a project or an employee, because we know in many cases for payroll, we're wanting to look at an employee. Sometimes for job costing, you're wanting to look at how many hours are allocated to a project, so you're able to come in and do that. And you can also just export out all of the timesheets to Excel, which is often an easy way to get them imported into accounting or other systems that you may need to use those hours for. So you are able to export to Excel, and you have a couple of options for how much detail you would include when that gets exported out. So great question, and a lot of great options as to what you can do with those timesheets, from a reporting or export point of view as well.
Holly, I think we have to answer this one. Can I create a new change order on the Construction Online mobile app? Absolutely. It's very, very simple to get started with a new change order on the spot. Of course, the ideal would be that you have time to really nail down the costs, but in some cases you might be on site. You might have the person able to provide you a quote, and on the spot, let's say maybe someone asks, oh, can we move this electrical outlet 5 feet over to the right? Maybe someone's there who's actually working on the electrical outlet on the spot. This is a story we tell all the time, but we tell it because it actually happened to one of our clients, and they were able to build that change order from the mobile app on the spot, fill in the cost details, turn the phone around for the client to sign off on, and away they went with their approved change order. No need to track down or chase down paper scraps for documentation in the future. No more questions of, well, did I sign for that? I don't remember if did we say we were. I didn't know that was going to cost that much. I don't know. Well, you can completely skip those conversations at this point, especially if you can put a change order together and have it approved directly from the phone.
Yeah, exactly. So you'll notice, just like with some of the other things we've looked at, creating a new change order is really just as easy as filling out a form. If we were going to, put in maybe a cost per each outlet that we were doing or moving, maybe we'll just say $150 each. We'll put in how many of those we're going to do. We'll go ahead and save the change order. So what you do is go ahead and fill out the form. You'll create and save the change order. And then once you've done that, you can either at that point, it will act just like any other change order. So it'll be available to your clients in their portal. But if you do, happen to be again standing right there with the client, you can go ahead and tap that approve button, hit the approve, and then at that point is where you would capture that signature. So you can definitely come in and create those change orders right from the phone, as well as, of course, work with existing ones. But you'll be able to create those from here as well. And I think it looks like we are about out of time. One person did notice that my app looked just a little bit different than theirs. So some of the options that we're looking at for the brand new Construction Online mobile app, that update may not be available to you guys just yet. You will get a notification within your app once you do have an update available. So definitely stay tuned there. And I think, Jordan, that's about all we have time for today. Before we wrap up, I do want to put in just one more plug for our session next week. Time tracking has been such a popular feature that I want to make sure that all of you know where to go and sign up for that. So as always, our upcoming and previous webinars are available at udatechnologies.com/events. So you'll be able to sign up for our time tracking lunch and learn, which will be next week on Wednesday, November 20th at 1 p.m. Eastern time. Here you'll also be able to find recordings of all of our previous webinar sessions, including the one today on Construction Online Mobile, as well as the recent Construction Online 2020 sessions, and tons of great others as well.
You should absolutely head over, sign up. I know that so many of you have asked questions about time tracking that if we don't see you joining us in the next webinar, we're going to be shocked. And one of the two of us will probably be sending you a message or giving you a call finding out if you're okay. So please head over to udatechnologies.com/events and sign up for the next webinar. For those of you who are here with us today and who joined us, thank you so much for spending your time with us this afternoon or morning or middle of the night, wherever you are in the world. Seriously, we appreciate your attention so much, and we're so happy to show what we're bringing to the table for you to take advantage of in 2020.
Absolutely. Thanks, everyone. See you next time.